Hello and welcome to the Ferra Film Podcast. Today we have Brandon and Tyler today.
How's it going, Zach? Good to be back.
Mr. Films.
And actually our first episode of a rewind episode, actually.
Yep. Yeah, you haven't had any other people come back in the pod, huh?
No, this is the very first one, and I'm glad to be you guys, honestly.
We're honored.
So we're going to be chatting about the success of, Tether Paw, pretty much, where how you guys took this to the next level from the first season, and you guys killed it out of the water right there, I would say, honestly. By every episode, personally, is my favorite.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, season 1 from season 2 is a pretty big jump, and I'm glad people like what we're doing. It's cool to see everyone liking it.
No, definitely. So what episode took the longest to film?
The first 2 episodes we filmed were Legend of the Pumpkin Man and Devin. We filmed those on alternating weeks, so we would film Pumpkin Man 1 week, Devin the next week, so on and so forth. So I would say those ones probably took the longest because Devin Albino had a kid within that time. Michael Duffy lives in Spain for the most part, so we could only film with Michael when he was here on vacations or in the summer. And when Devin had a kid, obviously I'm not going to have him come to filming to do stuff while he has a newborn child. I had a kid around that time as well, and then a second kid a little bit further down the line. So I would say Pumpkin Man and Devin were the ones that were probably a little bit more drawn out. And you could there's some continuity errors in Pumpkin Man with Michael Duffy's hair. But yeah, those are the 2 that come to my head.
Yeah, and then there's times where we had to film things much in advance because we couldn't get a film location again. Like, for example, Tyler's grandfather sold their New Hampshire cabin. So we had to film something with Tim Duffy a year and a half in advance. That's how long we had these concepts plotted out.
Yeah, before we even released Alice in Blunderland, our 5th Tether Paw episode, that was in season 1, we were already filming with Tim in New Hampshire at the same house we filmed our first episode of Blind Man's Bluff in. So because we revisited the Tim character, we wanted to go back to the house and film some stuff there. And because my grandfather wanted to sell that house, we were like, okay, all hands on deck. Let's go back to the house. Let's do this thing. And, that was spread out, too, because of that.
Yeah, I think we went up there 2 to 3 times to make sure we got all the coverage we needed, huh?
Yeah, because we didn't want to, think we're okay, and then the house is sold, and we're like, shit, we didn't get a shot.
Yeah, we got a good amount of footage up there, just so we made sure, all right, if we need any of this footage, we have it. I don't think we used all of it, right? We didn't use
there's some stuff that people will see later down the line.
Yeah.
We did some advanced stuff too.
Okay.
But in our first podcast we did with you, we were talking about what we liked in season 1, and one of the things I said was I would love to do another trip where we go somewhere and film. And we talked about the New Hampshire trip that we did with Dante, Chris, Tim, and we got to do that again with some other people, and that was really cool to do with some of our boys,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sounds very fun, honestly. I mean, even a trip like that, you know what I mean? Just I get the covers that you guys need just in case, because you don't want to go back to the end and be like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And it's literally the thing, we couldn't go back there. It's not a thing where it's one person's being stingy and we only have a certain amount of days to film in the house, and they're just yep, you got 3 days to film here, that's it. It's not even that. There's no communication with whoever would own that house. So it literally now or never.
True. So these are kind of shot fire answers already. What's your favorite episode?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to have to say
Ever or in just season 2?
Wherever you prefer, season 2 or.
I can do 1 from season 1 and 1 from season 2.
If you want to do that, yeah.
I'm going to say it's gonna be both Kairos episodes. Honestly, for me, it's gonna be first season is gonna be Disciples of Kairos, and then second one Apostles of Kairos. Those are my favorite episodes.
Mine's probably Disciples for season 1, and then mine for season 2 is probably Devin.
Devin's a close second.
Yeah, Devin too.
Devin's iconic.
It really, there are some shots in the episode, especially. Shout out Mahi too. He killed it in that
One
episode.
of our best actors.
He's
such a surprise. We did Sig City with him, our one of our parody movies, the last one we did with Tim Duffy, and he was awesome in that because he was so funny. He made the audience laugh every single time he said a line or a joke, and then for us to give him a way more dramatic and nuanced role, he could have done good. I never doubted him, but he knocked it out of the park in Devin.
Yeah, no, it honestly was a really good performance. I think it's gonna
Ben
stay.
Cash is great in it.
Oh, Ben, yeah, shout out Ben
Devin
Cash.
is vastly underrated in that episode too.
Yeah.
People see Ben and Matt being so good that they forget how like hard it would be for Devin's role in that episode.
I think Devin, the episode, has probably the best acting, like average acting, like the best, like out of like all the episodes, it has the best actors.
Yeah.
And like they always put forward 100%, which I love. Some episodes, like you have people with cameos and stuff like that where they can't act as well, and that's okay. But
Yeah, we do it with our friends. Like we still do it mostly with our friends, and some people are better at acting, some people are less good at acting. And like for Pumpkin Man, I threw myself into the ring because I didn't want to ask all these people to do stuff and then me not do it myself too. Like me asking Devin, Brandon, Jarrett Quinn, Tim, like, hey, I need you to give your all for this. And then for just me to be behind the camera, I wanted to go in front too and be like, I'm going to do the same thing you guys are doing here. I want to get my hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah. No, I totally get that, yeah. So what was your guys' favorite BTS moment? That was a tough one, because, I mean, there's many moments, honestly, for you guys.
Because we filmed for like a year and a half, 2 years for this season to really come to fruition the way that it did. And filming at the New Hampshire house again was kind of nostalgic for us because it was our first Tether Paw that we made. And coming back there with friends, Devin joined us, Aiden Almeida joined us. Zach Robertson joined us, and that was a lot of fun, like the scary stories we were telling late at night. And I made Brandon and Zach Robertson sleep in my room because we were all telling spooky ghost, like, horror stories, and I was like, you guys gotta bring your mattresses in my room. We could have a little, like, camp out real quick.
Yeah, I'm trying to think some other stuff. Like
filming at the Witch Hut.
Witch Hut, that was a really fun time. Late nights, but honestly, the vibes were high.
Like
filming
2 in the morning.
Yeah, 2 in the morning, but still just like rolling footage, fires burning, just great acting all around. Filming in the woods for Apostles was also great.
A lot of fun.
It was just like having like 7-8 people in the woods, just like at night, just like kind of just vibing out. A pretty chill scenes, but just like getting everyone there, just having fun.
We have such a good crew too. Like the people we film with, they're not assholes. They're not like, all right, let's wrap this stuff up. Like sometimes people can be like that. They're tired or they have stuff to do with the rest of the day. Yeah. But we're lucky that a lot of the people we filmed with, especially the late nights, were super like fun to be around, and they didn't take themselves too seriously. And our cast got a lot bigger, and it's like, did we stretch ourselves too thin? Like, do we have to find random people from, like, a friend of a friend or my cousin or something like that? And every single person that was a friend of a friend or one of my cousins or one of Brandon's friends that I'm not really close with, they were all so great. Mm-hmm. And we're lucky that we found these people that we wouldn't have if we just stayed super close to our chest.
And I think we've gotten very lucky with all of our cast having pretty good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, there's not one time I can think of where it was, like, a horrible time on set where, like, nothing was getting done because one person was acting one way or another. It's more, like, everyone was, like, having good times, and, yeah, it just...
I mean, there were a few bad times,
but
the good times outweighed the bad times.
Oh, very much so.
And it's not like we left on bad terms with any actors whatsoever.
Yeah.
But sometimes I had a bad day. Brent had a bad day. The actor had a bad day. And it's like, we're butting heads. They're tired. So we're like, all right, we'll end it for the day. We're doing this for fun. And by the end of the day, it's like, if we're there to create something bigger than ourselves, we just have to drop any ego or any, like, dick measuring contests and stuff. Like, we're just here to have fun. And we're, like, the good so much outweighed the bad, and we're really lucky for that too, because we've been on film sets too that can be a nightmare, and it's just like everyone has to be on the same page. And I think me and Brandon were way more synced up this season than we were last season. Much.
We know what our likes are, like each other's likes, and we're like, okay, I know you can handle this shot, or hey, can you try this shot for me? We just trust each other a lot more, so I think it's just a good duo.
And if I can read him pretty well, that if he's not speaking up about something, I will try to speak up for him. And I think sometimes I'll be like, hey, Brandon, can you say this real quick? And he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll say this. So we gotta, like, have each other's back and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's good to have someone else to do it with. Yeah. If it was all on me, I would lose my mind.
I mean, like, it's good the atmosphere that you guys have for, like, actors and other help that you guys had, too, you know what I mean? Like, it's a team, you know what I mean? Like, you guys have to be a team at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And you guys did.
Yeah, and we had Ben Allendorf on set some days too. He was going to school in Boston, going to school in California, so he was there less and involved less. But when he was there, he was a big help for us. We had people like Jarrett Quinn that if we needed help with him, he would obviously help. Trying to think if we could shout out anyone else for being a big help.
Nolan helped.
Nolan, my cousin Shane, Paul. If we needed an extra, like an Apostle Sekiros.
Got Jason, Ben Cash.
Yeah. Ben Cash, yep, Jason. All these people that are kind of like our close group of friends. If we need an extra with a mask on where you don't see their face, but someone, Aiden Almeida, Paul,
Yeah.
like these people like from previous episodes and like people I'm close with, people Brandon is close with, like it's like a little family we've built and it's really cool. And I don't know what I would do if I didn't have as much support.
No, definitely. So how long did it take to build that hut?
The witch hut.
Yeah, the witch hut.
So Brandon, you were there for one day.
I was
building
there
it, right?
after you guys built the platform. It probably took like 2 to 3 days, like total. Cause I know you guys collected the pallets when you guys both worked at the door factory, whatever it was.
Yeah. So me and Aiden Almeida worked at a place where I built doors. That was my job. And we got a lot of spare wood from there that we used to build the foundation. And then we went to places like Tractor's Supply to get more pallets because they just throw their stuff out.
Yeah.
They let anyone take them. And we asked management too if it was okay. And so we got all that scrap and we assembled. We did the foundation first, and then Brandon came and helped us put together the walls, put up the walls. And then the ceiling originally was going to be like a flat ceiling, but we had it so it was like a upside down V shape, like an A-frame.
Because we were worried about rain, and we were gonna build that, and then probably come back to it a couple weeks later. And because I think it was like spring or summer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like we were worried about rainfall, and we didn't want to come back to a roof that caved in, so we had to make sure we had a slope on it so water would run off. And I mean, it held up great.
Yeah, it did hold up really great, and we did have to tear down the witch hut so it no longer exists. You can't go into the woods and find it, which sucks because it would be so cool for just kids like 20 years from now to be walking the woods and be like, what the hell is that? Is that like a homeless person's house? Which, scary. But
you can't see photos on Instagram of it being demolished.
Yeah, and we have an Instagram page. We posted like a small like day by day building of the hut at one point, and then we we posted like a demolished photo where we took down the walls and then there was no more left, which it was really awesome to build a set.
Yeah.
And it was cool that Aiden got to help, Zach Robertson, Brandon.
Paul
helped take it down.
But
still we needed someone to help us. Yeah.
I mean, that is pretty cool in an aspect that, you had guys had like a prop set, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of ruins my chance for going for a museum, honestly. But
I still have pieces of it. I have the Mercy Wood sign. It's real. I have the sign. Aiden Almeida made the sign for us. He put together all the wood pieces and he carved the letters into it. So that was a cool thing Aiden did awesome. Too. I was gonna say something else about the Mercy Wood house.
The house.
So we filmed The Witch of Mercy Wood at like a few different locations. So in that episode, there's like an RV, like a broken down motorhome sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the dog house, the car, like all that stuff in the woods, and the witch hut. It makes it feel like so much more like a genuine place that like exists in reality when it's like real stuff rather than people just walking the woods and it's just trees. It makes it just feel spookier. It helps with the atmosphere a lot. So us building that was just like, I can't imagine if we just like rented an Airbnb and just made it look crappy. Like it would not have worked any other way.
No, I think particularly with that episode, that's how it would work. I mean, with the hut and the RV, the woods, it makes it seem a little bit more like creepy and exactly. Everything.
It has a good Halloween vibe, I think.
No,
I think that and Legend of the Pumpkin Man have really great Halloween vibes.
No, definitely.
Almost like those are our most goosebumpsy episodes in a weird way.
Yeah, I would say so. It's like it's very like out there topic, but also kind of reins in like the horror aspects and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird to almost compare it to. I don't know what my thought was there. We'll cut there for that question.
Okay. So obviously you already talked about it, but was there any other challenges on set that you guys had? I know you guys already talked about it pretty much.
I'd say time constraints in locations.
Yeah.
It's tough when a certain shot's not working out, or if you only have a set for a couple hours and you're trying to get the most amount done so you don't have to bring people back.
Yeah.
That's real tough, because it really puts a pressure on you, especially puts a pressure on the actors, and the pressure is on them to act good, and so they feel a lot, but also the pressure's on us behind the scenes, because we have to make sure all the equipment's working and that we're getting like everything focused, and it's tough sometimes.
This season from last season, we our sound is better this season than it was last season. I think our shot composition is mostly better than last season. So we were really focusing on like advancing our craft while also having to keep everyone in check. Like we didn't have like producers or people on set a lot of the time to be like, all right, actors, rein it in a little bit. We have a schedule that we need to hit. We can only be in this house for a few hours. Or even on the topic of like, we started this season with only 5 episodes. Because of the delay by me having kids, by Devin having a kid, like we had a lot more time than we thought we would. So we added the 6th episode. There's Something in the Water with Tim Duffy, Will Reyes, Brandon, Chris, he too. And that was the kind of thing, like we started filming that and then people's schedules got super tight. So like we needed to get Tim back, we needed to get Will back. And that one was an out there idea because it was like a more comedic one. And it continued the story of Tim's character from the stuff that happened between him and Jarrett. And it's like between what happened with him and Jarrett and then what happened to the New Hampshire house. We wanted to fill in that gap. I love filming with Tim. I love filming with Will. That I was like, it's a shame if I can just not film with them again, even if it's like a goofy world-building episode. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go to the power lines. Let's film something that's a lot less scripted than our normal stuff, and we'll craft something around that. And I like that episode. It's kind of the underdog of the season, but it's a fun watch, and I think conceptualizing that and its reason for existing was difficult just because like I made that particularly because I wanted to see more from those characters. Did it have to exist? No, but I wanted to see it. And being a director, being a creative, you don't make stuff for other people. Like obviously you make stuff for other people to watch and enjoy, but you have to make stuff that you want to see too. And I think like us exploring Kyros stuff too was a big thing. Like when people liked the Disciples of Kyros a lot, we were like, okay, let's do more Kyros stuff. What's next with this this cult, this organization? And we pitched around a few things at first. I know Brandon was thinking like a sequel to Disciples of Kyros. I threw in the idea of a prequel and said that like we should explore some origin stuff. Brandon and I went back and forth and decided it should be like people camping in the woods, like a Friday the 13th, like a classic, like again, like Goosebumps too, like that kind of stuff I grew up watching and enjoying. And then Brandon wanted an episode that he could call his own without me having my hands in the writing room. And he kind of went off and did his own thing with that. Obviously, like, we talked about the world building of the universe and, like, what is essential for what we're going to do going forward. But that was Brandon's thing. That was probably, I'm not going to say difficult for him because I don't want to speak for you. But usually when we write stuff, it's a lot of me and you coming back and forth and being like, okay, I'll add this part, you add this part. Like, it was more collaborative before. So you going doing it yourself, was that difficult for you?
It was a little bit difficult, but I kind of already had like the story like kind of planned out. I mostly just ran things by you just to be like, hey, like, does this make sense if we do this? This is what I'm thinking. You think this could work out? Like stuff like that, and also thinking like, all right, this is what I have planned for this. Do you think we can get that many people? Like, I basically just I was basically asking you like, are we able to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I knew the ideas would be decent. I knew you'd like them, but I just want to make sure like we can actually get it done.
Well, I know what's funny too about that whole thing. I've recently started comparing myself to like Kevin Feige in a weird way because I'll let Brandon do his own thing, but I legitimately looked him in the eyes and said, "We are having Zach Robertson play the main character. Write him into the story and have him be the like main guy." And Brandon was like, okay. Like,
okay.
Barely knowing who Zach is at this point before we started, like, really hanging out with him, like, for filming. And he just had to take my word for it. Like, yep, Zach's the main guy. He kind of looks like I don't want to say looks like Charles Manson, but he has the long hair. He's like a little bit of facial hair. I just think I saw him and I was like, that guy could be a cult leader. Like in our universe. I don't know.
In our universe.
But and going back to like writing too, which I know we're getting off topic here, but me and Brandon have written every single Tether Paw episode, but Witch of Mercy Wood was actually written by Augustin Custer. He wrote the first draft of that episode, and then I did some like rewrites and stuff and polished it to make it more Tether Paw like. So even the concept of like the witch hut, that was a complete Gus idea.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, because
actually no, he did talk about. He did. Okay, yeah, okay, never mind.
Because it was the kind of thing like he was interested in writing something.
Yeah.
And we were all at my house, and I was like, write something that you're scared about. And he didn't like dolls, I think was the initial thing. Yeah, well, he said clowns, but I was like, we did a clown one already.
Yeah.
Don't do clown. But then he said dolls, and then from there he was just like, it's about a witch. And she has these dolls that are like her lackeys. And I was like, this is good. Keep going. I just let him do it. It was like this blood-bending witch. And I was like, cool. You like Avatar The Last Airbender? We can make it Tether Paw-y and make it work. So then I just made it more Tether Paw-y and we filmed it. And yeah, Gus doing that too. Like, I don't talk a lot with Gus, but like even the fact that me and him kind of like wrote a Tether Paw is like a cool bond we'll always have.
Yeah.
And that's like what me and Brandon have, but the fact I have it with Gus Custer too is just like a cool thing. And he, without, like, I wouldn't have thought of a lot of the ideas that he thought of.
No.
And I can't take credit for any of that because I really just molded it into the universe. And Brandon obviously had some input too of like, should we have the witch do this or should we have the dolls do this? And yeah, Brandon voices the doll in the witch episode.
I do.
Oh.
People thought it was me. I'm like, it's not me, it's Brandon.
Oh, damn. So, are there any Easter eggs or hidden references that the fans will look out in the series? Something you can say or not?
Easter eggs.
Other than Glenn.
Yeah.
I mean, Glenn's a very obvious one.
So, in the movie Seed of Chucky from, I believe, 2004, Chucky has a son. His name's Glenn. And he is like $500. I will be completely transparent. I spent $500 on this child's play doll, and I was like, if I'm going to spend this much money on a piece of plastic, I'm going to put him in every season 2 episode of Tether Paw in a very like Easter egg cameo, blink and you miss it sort of way, which it's not really blink if you miss it, but yeah. He's in every single season 2 episode. And it's a cool thing. Ben Cash always got excited seeing Glenn. He'd be like, Glenn's in the corner! And I'd be like, Ben, you're our number 1 fan.
he really knows every single reference and everything like that. He loves when I say, I see you!
I see you!
Yeah, that was for you, Ben.
Other Easter eggs, can you think of anything?
There's like little things where like, we'll add in like a little voice line that like maybe muffled or like in the background, but it holds significant like weight. Like, for example, in season 1 in Blyman's Bluff, Chris Hitu says, "Oh yeah, I had an acting gig, yada yada yada," and then it kind of goes off because the character Pat that I play, he's like a zoned out trance type thing, and in what was it, Blyman's Bargain?
Yeah, it's the post credit scene.
The post credit scene from Blyman's Bargain. I always get that one. The titles I get confused on. For that one, he goes to the acting gig. It kind of shows that like, hey, it's before. And like kind of just shows you like it shows you like the beginning of like the cult like infomercial type thing that's in Disciples.
Yeah, because if you watch all the episodes for our quote unquote diehard fans, you will see Chris Hitu in Disciples of Kyros on the television screen saying this kind of preachy infomercial for the Kyros cult. And in Tether Paw, if you play one character, that is the same character throughout the entire universe. It's an anthology in a way because each episode is different, but there are connections and there are storylines that continue. Disciples of Kyros, Apostles of Kyros, Blyman's Bluff, Blyman's Bargain, etc. And we always said that Chris was the same character, like if people were to ask us. But us showing, yes, Chris's character Caleb is going to this acting gig, and it's just something he got paid to do to say for the Heroes Cult guys. It's like this weird thing that like nobody would even like catch that if you're not really paying attention until you see it and you're like, wait, so he was the guy in the thing. So that's like an Easter egg in a way. Mm-hmm. And even like our world building stuff, like going back to the New Hampshire house, I guess that's an Easter egg. Like when Tim has the vision in Blind Man's Bargain, it's him in the New Hampshire house after he gets hit in Blind Man's Bluff. Trying to think of other stuff too. Witch of Mercy
Okay, I'm trying
Wood.
to think of things especially for season 2.
There's a witch's spell book in the Witch of Mercy Wood that she never uses, but it is like an important thing that I think is cool. Jarrett Quinn has some lines. I'm trying to think of other stuff. Easter eggs. I feel like I say so much. Jarrett Quinn voices the killer in Legend of the Pumpkin Man when he has the mask on. You know how like in the Scream movies, Ghostface has like a voice modulator?
Yeah.
We wanted a voice modulator on our mask because it's like our version of Scream, kind of. Like it's our slasher episode. So I was like, hey, Jarrett, want to do this? And he was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. Jarrett's always down to do a weird voice. And
we love Jarrett.
we love Jarrett. Yeah. We also like kind of expanded on Will Reyes because he's passed out in the Disciples of Kyros.
No speaking lines. He honestly kind of a G for showing up full. He was there. He was on set for about 5 hours, just in a folding chair, just
acting
slumped.
dead the whole time with makeup
honestly,
on his face.
Yeah, it was kind of a G move. He showed up. He did the assignment.
And then we expanded on it. We gave him a little cameo in Blind Man's Bargain, and then he has like one of the main starring roles in There's Something in the Water. And even like having that minor character in Disciples of Kyros who doesn't speak, who's just knocked out the whole time, show how he got to a certain point is like a cool world building thing that we did, I think.
Then obviously there's some little things that we've hinted in for like in season 2 that haven't come to full like
Fruition, yeah.
But you'll see when all the episodes come out.
There's one other cool thing too, if I mind. So in every single Devin Albino movie from that we made in like high school and stuff, there's a funeral scene at the same spot every single time, where it says "Here lies Devin Albino," and then "Here lies Lon Gnome," and "Here lies the immigration officer," and there's a bunch of them in Sig City too. But in every single Devin movie from high school, there's a funeral scene at that spot. And when they drop Ben Cash's body off in the Devin episode of Tether Paw, they drop it off to the same spot. And you can see Devin's jacket from those movies on the ground, like, rotting away. It stayed there that whole time. And that's, like, a cool thing that, like, no one will notice, but Devin steps on it in the episode. Oh. And they drop his body where all the funerals are and stuff. So that's a cool, like, going back to where it all started thing for us.
Definitely. So how do you think that this series evolved to, like, you know, from the first episode?
I think it's evolved a lot because especially the first episode, I mean, if I'm being honest, a lot of the stuff we filmed for that episode, we filmed and we really did not have a direction. We kind of just expanded on the idea we had, and that's really what the series has become.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing we always knew we wanted Tether Paw to have like a beginning, middle, and end. And we knew that we wanted to go back to certain story threads. And we kind of knew how some things connected. But it really got to the point while making season 2, all right, we did this in season 1. How are we going to expand upon this? Because we do have our standalone episodes in season 2, like Pumpkin Man, Devin, Witch. But we have 3 episodes that really expand on previous episodes and fill out the universe in really big ways. And it was a lot of like, okay, we learned what to do, what not to do. Let's make this universe plumper. Let's make it juicier. Let's make it fatter. Let's really give something for people to dive into and feel immersed into, and to really be there with these characters in these situations. And I think it's a cool thing to see from Blind Man's Bluff, watching it when it first came out. You could be like, this makes no sense. But now, if you even watch it with the other episodes in the back of your mind, it makes more sense. And it was always the thing, like I said, there's always an answer. You just have to keep looking for it. We're going to keep spelling out it for everyone over time. And even like the Kyros stuff. And like how the Kyros stuff is somehow connected to the Blind Man's Bluff stuff, because Tim Duffy's character from Blind Man's Bluff meets Jarrett Quinn's character, who is a Kyros guy. So those worlds are connecting in small ways, and it's interesting to see how they'll connect further. And like we did a whole animation for season 2, and that was a big step up because we had never dabbled in something like that. And I commissioned an artist to make that animation, and he was awesome. He was really great at hearing what I had to say and my like pitch for it. Yeah. And he had a script to go by, and It's just really cool. Like, it's something like you're watching the episode, you're like, yeah, this is Tether Paw, and then animation, you're like, what the hell is, like, they did that? Like, it's just a crazy, like, switch up.
That was a crazy, honestly, to me. I was like, whoa. I was like...
It gives me a vibe, like, when you're watching Blind Man's Bluff for the first time, there's, like, 5 Brandons.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, how'd they do that? And, like, there were less moments of that season 2. Besides, like, there's a UFO in the Devon episode. Like, I had people be like, how the frick did you do that? And, like, the animation, like... We like giving little surprises, and like we're like proving ourselves. Like, we make movies, and we can show you something that you're not expecting from us because you're expecting this student film, and we are like student film levels. We're always getting better, and I just think if we keep surprising people, keep showing stuff we have up our sleeves, I think that's really cool that we haven't run out of tricks yet. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and whenever we make new content and like new episodes, I always like making the previous content we've made have more weight. So like Blind Man's Bluff, when you rewatch that after watching season 2, the episode has more weight, and that goes from almost every episode in season 1 because everything gets a little kind of touched on. So that's probably one of my more favorite things to do.
Yeah, we've almost made like the Blind Man's Bluff event sort of like this moment that has been built up on.
Yeah, it's kind of like a canon event.
Yeah, like Tim gets like a flash of it. 2 flashes of it in the Blind Man's Bargain episode. It's like this future that like there's something bad that's going to happen, and even in There's Something in the Water, Brandon's character is like, hey, there's a New Hampshire house that I'm thinking about going to soon. And then the montage at the end, it's very like, I don't know, like I watch it, and maybe it's because like I'm involved in it, but I feel almost uneasy as like these people are like, yeah, let's go to it. And I think people watching maybe 10 years from now when the whole story is complete, they'll be like, holy shit, these bastards really had like a whole story planned out. And it's like, even the Kiro stuff, like seeing those characters go from A, B to C, and like seeing the video get made, like how Brandon was talking about, it's like they are cooking right now and there's something going on. At least I like to think people would look at it like that.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I'm sure it's, obviously something you can show your kids when they get older too, so.
It'll be so cool, dude. Oh, I have one more Easter egg. Should I say it?
Yeah.
He mentioned, do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is.
All right. So my character in Legend of the Pumpkin Man, I have a girlfriend in it. Her name's Annie. That's my fiance in real life, Shane. And she was in it at the beginning. She was in the bed with me, and then she like does like a voice thing for her voicemail later. But in my car, I look in the backseat and there's a pregnancy test there. So like maybe in this universe, at some point, when my character meets his untimely end, his girlfriend out there is pregnant with a kid, or maybe 2 kids, like twins. That's like a cool concept. Like my kids could exist in the Tether Paw universe. Obviously, I'm not going to put them on camera because I'm not going to do that. But it's cool to think like maybe my girlfriend in universe had my kids in like universe. Like, and my kids are only a year apart in age, where they look like they could be twins. Like she's his same height. She has my fiance's long legs. He has my short legs. So I think it's cool, like, for one day, if they wanted to do, like, a Tether Paw, they could do it and be, like, my son or daughter in universe. Like, that's a cool, like, thing. I just look at my backseat pregnancy test, and then I look back. And it's just, like, I don't know. It's a cool, like, little thing I wanted to do just to, I don't know. I made them canon.
It's a nice little seed that you planted so that if they wanted to do anything in the future.
Planted 2 seeds.
Fair enough.
Don't put that in.
Yeah. So, who particularly killed it on set for you guys, for acting wise? I know there's a lot of people you had on set, but is there a particular person that stood out for you?
Do you want to do 1 per episode? You want to go crazy?
Ooh.
We can do 1 per episode.
That'd be pretty nuts.
Nuts?
We're talking about nuts. Do you want to give like 1 per, like each of us? We like, if we agree, just agree with each other.
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess we want to start on the first episode. No, Legend of the Pumpkin Man. Who went?
If you don't mind me saying, I think I do well. But I think Luke Sylvia, for the little screen time he has, does pretty well with it.
I think him at the end, you can like see like almost genuine fear in his eyes.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of hard to grasp as an actor.
Well, we were in a crypt. That's the cool thing too. We filmed that in a fucking crypt in like Cumberland, which I probably shouldn't be saying, but we filmed it in an actual like open crypt, like a grave. and it was pretty spooky because we were doing it at nighttime, obviously.
Yeah.
Every time a car would drive by, we turn off our lights so like no one thinks we're like delinquents drinking or like doing drugs in a crypt. But I think that added to it too. Like he could easily be scared, and there's something in the Sylvia veins and the blood. They're good actors. Like something about Paul and Luke, they're pretty good. I think I'm pretty good in that episode. I think Michael's pretty good in that episode. I think when Jet Sally's getting killed, she has such like a deadpan look in her eye as she's getting stabbed that it's just like, I don't know, it just adds to the scene. When people like need to lock in, they lock in.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
And that episode's kind of a hard one to even pitch because I'm the main character for most of it. I die, and then Jet Sally's the main character for like 2 minutes, and then Michael's the main character for 5 minutes, and then Luke Sylvia's the main character for 2 minutes. So it's like a game of like a baton game, like, all right, pass it to you, pass it to you. Yeah. Exactly. And which the other Tether Paws aren't really like that. It's usually one main character going through. But
yeah, okay, now go back on the topic. What's the second one for you? For Devin's second episode of the season, right?
Yeah. If I have to pick one for Devin, which it would be all three of them.
I think it's our
strongest cast.
Our strongest cast for sure. Who's yours? 'Cause I know mine.
All right. I love Ben Cash in that episode.
Me too.
I love Ben Cash in that episode. He gives a performance that would rival Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and that's an Oscar-winning performance. But I think Matt Heat is so nuanced, and he goes from point A, from point B to point C. He starts out with like a jokey, kind of stupid character that's just like pillowcases stuck on his head, and then at the end he's just so fucking sinister, dude. And he's like giving Devin these looks that are just like, are you my friend right now? And by the end he's just like, I don't know what you mean, friend. And like he's just fucking good.
What I just like about that, like his acting performance, is that it's really impressive to see on screen someone lock in. Like it's like he's playing like almost 3 different characters in that one role, and like you'll see him like be kind of like friendly or not friendly, and then he'll lock in and be the opposite of what he is, but all in one take. And especially the 5-minute joke that he does at the monologue.
One shot, and that was the first take that we did. We did 2 takes of it. The second take I fucked up like midway through. That he just memorized the entire monologue. And some people have said to me, one person in particular said to me, actually not even some, one person has said to me, oh, but that joke just goes on for so long. And then he watched it in a room with other people, and they were like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And I'm like, if the scene's long and it works, I'm cool with it, because Matt kills that entire monologue. And it's like a thing you could easily trip up. He's talking about like a hot dog like penis joke the whole time, and it's just like, it's inherently very goofy, but he's trying to distract Devin's character in a way that the audience is he's trying to distract the audience and Devin's character. It's just like, it's really hard to balance.
It's one of my favorite parts in that episode, because the whole time you're very uneasy about this person, and then when like you start suspecting some things about the character, it's almost like he's trying to prove to Devin, like, I am human. Like, I'm human. Watch me recite this joke that gets all the humans to laugh.
Yeah.
And then he does it. He recites it perfectly, and then Devin just sees right through it.
And it's the thing, too, that, like, when he's telling the joke, you yourself as an audience member are like, all right, where's he going with this joke? Like, what's the punchline here? And I don't know where that joke came from. I swore for a wicked long time I found it from, like, a podcast. I messaged the podcast host and was like, hey, do you know what episode of your podcast this joke was said on? And he legitimately looked with me, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I thought, like, that sounds like something I would say, but, like, I'm trying to find it, and I can't. I think I dreamt it or something. It was, like, weird.
I have heard that joke before, so I don't know.
I have, too, but I just don't know where I heard it from. I swore it's from this podcast.
Yeah, it's from an older. I think it's an older joke, but...
Next episode.
Yeah, next episode. Which one? That's Blind Man. No,
Blind Man's Bargain. So it's Jarrett.
It's not Witch. Witch is not the third episode.
No,
really.
It's Witch is after Blind Man's Bargain.
I get blurry
because the music took longer for Witch.
Oh, that's correct. Tim has some good parts, but I want to give it to Jarrett.
I'm gonna have to give it to Jarrett. There's one part where he's like, "I didn't say I was gonna kill you." Like he's like, tell me all this time. He's like ranting to Tim. His face is getting beet red like a tomato, because Jarrett is a tomato in a human's body, and he just does so well at being a tomato. And yeah, Jarrett kills him.
When Jarrett locks in, he is hard to beat.
His ego will inflate hearing that. but it is worth saying.
I would literally tell this to him.
And I think we've praised.
I'm like, he's like when he locks in, he's just he's good.
People finished that episode and was like, oh, I loved Jarrett. Like all the comments on it, I think Jarrett is great. Their chemistry is great. Like I want more Jarrett. I think was the consensus after that one. Which Lucas Witten is Smosh. Keep that in mind.
Lucas Witten is Smosh. That is actually so true. Who do I want to give to in which?
I think I want to give it to Shane.
Yeah, no, Shane carried it in the witch hut.
The last act, where he's just by himself acting with the witch herself, my cousin Faith.
Yeah.
I had 3 of my family members in this season. So Shane Paul and Faith Rodriguez and Jamal Rodriguez, I think. I'm aware they're my cousins. But it was the kind of thing where I needed other actors. They were all interested in doing it. Faith wants to pursue an acting career, and Shane wants to model and stuff, so it was a perfect thing. I was like, yeah, come on in. Let's do this. And I think they were all great. Like, Faith and Shane on screen with each other is really great.
No, Faith did really good.
Lucas Witten has a good deadpan look, like I said about Jet Sally when she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, when Lucas is dead, he looks dead as a doornail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next episode, there's something in the water.
Something in the water. Let's see.
I think Tim. Because he's funny. He's so funny. And Will's really great, too, and their chemistry is really good.
I'm willing to argue that I'm one of the
Brandon had to wait in that Wendy's line for a minute straight, and we did that in one take. And it was the kind of thing where it was like, should we include the minute of you waiting for Wendy's?
I stayed in character because I was like, right when the guy said, hold on a minute, and I stayed in character, and the whole time in my head I went, I really hope Tyler's recording this. I was like, I swear to God, Tyler, please still be recording this. You can see.
I'm always recording.
I did not turn to him and do anything. I didn't want to look at the camera.
I was scared you were going to.
No, I know when they usually stop.
It's like, Brandon, lock in!
I was like, this is genius right now. So.
No, you're good too when Tim's yelling at you on the phone and you're like, move back because you're like that.
No, but Tim really brings the comedy and that like that.
Yeah.
Like he's just Tim's just hilarious.
Well, when he looks at you like almost like itching, picking your nose, and he's just like deadpan, like staring at you. It's just, and then he dabs, and it's just like I don't know. Tim's such a goofy guy, and Robbie is a goofy character, but no one else would be able to do Robbie.
No,
it is Tim. Robbie is Tim, and I'm so glad we've had him in 4 Tether Paws. Like that's crazy. Out of 11, he's in 4 of them. You're in 4 of them too, Brandon.
That's true.
Chris Itu's in 4 of them too.
Keep it going.
Wait, next episode. Apostles of Kyros. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I have a sleeper.
So my I have 3 right now. It's Tyler Krause.
Tyler Krause, yeah.
Yeah. Tyler Krause, Joe
Hall, yes.
and Zach. That's my 3. I don't know which one I want to give it to.
Zach's really funny in it. Joe's really just genuine in it. He doesn't even seem like he's acting at some points because he's so...
I could not see Joe. I could not see Marshall being being played by anybody but Joe.
And Joe is a guy too. He's my cousin Shane's friend. I'm like, Brandon, this random guy's gonna come to your house and act. Historically, that might have not ended out super well if it was anyone else, but Joe is a really great guy, a really great actor, committed to acting and being there. And he lives kind of far away, so like he had to drive 35 minutes to film with us. Oh. So he was locked in. Mine is Jamal because he looks like an insane person.
He is very good in that.
Just that opening scene with him and Zach, he's just like, I'm all right. And I'd be like, okay.
I do like Tyler's acting in the RV.
Yeah.
That I think is that's probably one of my favorite.
When he's gagging.
Yeah, no, when he gags, it's like it seems like it's a real gag.
A genuine. And it might have been.
It probably was.
It might have been.
Because that stuff in the mason jar was rancid.
You want to tell Zach about that? The process behind the stuff in the jar?
Yeah, Tyler just kind of like filled a jar with a bunch of random stuff and then left it.
Milk, pickle juice, alcohol, and left it in Brandon's woods for about 2 months. And then we filmed and it really stunk really bad.
Yeah, and then I had to leave it outside. And then I think eventually my dad just threw it away.
Your dog might have eaten some of it.
I hope not. Brady, if you're hearing this, spit it out.
Your cat has a cameo.
My cat has a cameo.
Apostles.
Yeah, I thought I did think about 2 things about Apostles. The cat, which shout out Sylvester, the G.
And Dexter was in Pumpkin Man, my dog. We got some pets involved in season 2.
And And also the rant that Zach goes on, that Gabe goes on
About
at the fire,
Mad Max.
about Mad Max and
Thunderdome.
all that stuff, and like Mel Gibson, and like it's just a funny.
Who's the singer he talks about in that?
She just passed away recently. Too.
But she wasn't dead when we filmed it.
No, she.
So that was the
away-
funny thing.
And she had passed away.
Before release.
Why can't I not think of her name?
Just do the rant in your head. I'm thinking Robin Wright. I know it's not Robin Wright.
No, it's.
Don't look it up. No.
I had to look
dead
it
air,
up.
dead air,
No.
dead air,
I
dead
have to
air.
look it up. I'm
He's
going
cheating,
I'm
he's cheating,
going
he's
Letterboxd
cheating.
right now.
Just say the first letter so I can try to guess it.
I don't. Okay, yeah.
Dead air.
ASMR. We'll cut this part while Brandon Googles it.
Yeah, definitely.
First letter, Brandon. Look up Mad
T.
Max. T. What's the second?
T. Oh, wait, hold on. For first name?
T. Yeah.
I.
What? Tina Turner.
Yeah,
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner.
And Tina Turner shaves his mullet, and then he's fighting Master Blaster, or
Yeah.
it's like Return of the Jedi, and
This is post Return of the.
so the children, they're like
Yeah,
Ewoks,
yeah.
but they're not because they're children. Blah, blah, blah.
It's just like it was just so funny.
That rant went on longer too. We cut it for time.
Yeah.
Unscripted as well. We told Zach he could go on a pop culture rant that had to take place before 1995, and he was like, I got it.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah. He just went off.
But yeah, those are our acting picks. I know that was like a tangent, but yeah.
All right, so this is a little like shot fire question again. If you guys are time travelers, right? You're gonna time travel for the first.
Who said I'm not a time traveler, Zach?
Is there anything you would do differently for the first season if you guys were time travels? It's a tough one, I know.
I would.
Or you rather not touch it. You could
I
say
think
that.
I would add. I wouldn't subtract. So I would probably add in some cameos that would be more effective later down the road, if we had them in season 1. I'm gonna leave that there, but because we have some plans for certain things, but yeah.
I don't think I would change anything. I think I would just change like some sound quality stuff, but that's like the technical. I wouldn't change like the way I filmed it. I would just be like, yeah, I'm trying to think of
Maybe it's like better. Give it better equipment. Be like, hey, try this lens.
maybe for the ending.
Because you bought new equipment for this season.
We had a mic.
I know you did told me that you wanted to do that too to upper the stakes of the season.
We had a mic that shit the bed like halfway through the season. It
Yeah,
just like
and then editing was a nightmare because the sound quality was completely different. Either one, like one of them was like salvageable, but like when you tried to salvage it, it didn't sound anything close to the other one. It was just
we made it work.
yeah.
And
you can't tell where it changes, but it was tough.
But for the future, we have a boom mic, and it works fantastically, and we're excited for that too. But going back in time, I don't think I would change anything.
That's respectful.
I think I would maybe like add a little bit more banter, maybe in Blind Man's Bluff to make their friendships feel a little bit more real. Not friendships feel real, but like Brandon's character in Bargain and There's Something in the Water is kind of like a goofy guy, and I know the point of you in Blind Man's Bluff is that you are like something affects you to the point where you're different now, vaguely speaking. But if like we showed a little bit of you in the car being like kind of goofy, and then you get to the house or something, and it like shifts, I think that would be something I'd maybe change. But like, I don't know. I don't like to look back.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing.
I mean, that's why I touched on the point again where like each episode we make going forward, we try to enhance those other episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's your standing ground, and then now it's like this. You know what I mean?
Because season 1 we set the tone, we built the universe. The stories didn't really connect fully, and now we're like filling in gaps. We're expanding. Most of all of our stuff, for the most part, the stuff that connects, Apostles, Blind Man's Bargain, There's Something in the Water, they're all prequels pretty much. And that's the cool thing. For our second season, we didn't do any like sequels to Blind Man's Bluff or Disciples of Kyros or Shell of a Man, and I think that's a cool thing. Like, I think the normal reaction would be like, okay, sequels, what happened to Brandon afterwards? What happened to Aiden Almeida, Ben Catino afterwards? And that was something I wanted to stay away from. I wanted to make the universe feel lived in, and then maybe we'll see what happens to these characters later.
Okay, that's fair. So, any future plans for the series, or anything we can expect for spin-offs? I know you already announced on Twitter pretty much that you were going to make a third season pretty much.
Yeah, so the third season of Tether Paw is going to be our final season of Tether Paw.
Mr. Phil put his head down and
Yeah,
in
Ferra
sadness.
was very upset by that.
Just good. No,
Throws his chair.
yeah.
And I know some people are kind of like, oh, but you guys are getting so good. So why are you like stopping now? You guys could like just keep getting better and better and better. But like when we started Tether Paw, and I said this earlier, I always envisioned a beginning, middle, and end. Mm-hmm. And I think there's just so many franchises that go on too long past their expiration date. People are getting sick of Marvel now because they haven't.
Fast and Furious.
Don't let Vin Diesel hear that.
Yeah, dude, he's all about family, dude. Relax.
Family. But I think, not saying like we have an expiration date, but it's the kind of thing that I want us to go out on a high note. I don't want people to sour on us. I don't want people to be like, okay, when are you going to stop doing this? I'd rather have people say, no, why are you stopping? Or you guys are getting so good. Than be like, okay, you guys did the good stuff a few years ago. These are just kind of nothing episodes or nothing installments of Tether Paw. So I'd rather end where we are going to end. And I think we have a great end. And I think that's exciting more than anything.
Touching on that, I am excited for this final season because I think it will be our best produced season. I think because we upped our equipment, we honestly budget too. Like we're willing to spend a little bit more just so we can get like everything perfect.
Oh yeah,
and locations are great.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll expand a little bit on that. So the locations are really great. Most of Tether Paw takes place in the woods or someone's house or like something like that. In our third and final season, we're filming at a restaurant.
Oh shit.
An entire episode takes place within a restaurant. We're filming in a movie theater. We're filming in a bunch of places that it will make the universe feel more real. That we're going to like a place that otherwise we wouldn't be able to film in because we don't have permission. But now that we have permission to film in these places, because we can show them, hey, we did this. Can we do this? Which might sound weird, but we have a little bit more stake now. We're like, okay, we make short films. Can we do something here? And people are more comfortable saying yes because they know it's just not like we're not goofballs, not taking it seriously. We'll treat their property poorly. It's the kind of thing like we take our production seriously, and locations like a restaurant or a movie theater and so on and so forth will legitimize the stories in a way that other student films might not be able to if they're just filming it in a house or in your buddy's house, because we can only use people's houses for so long. And it wasn't like a thing where we forced ourselves to be like, all right, let's do a restaurant, let's do this. In the plots, it all makes sense, and I think it's something that is really exciting, and I'm excited for people to see what we're doing too.
Yeah, and you can only do interior of houses for so long. If you keep doing that, and then when people go back to the episodes, like they watch season 1, the season 2, and season 3, they're gonna be like, "Do they film anywhere else?"
Damn that fucking house.
And so like that's why like we kind of ventured into the woods for season 2, because the woods just generally is just kind of a spooky place.
Exactly.
It's very eerie.
We didn't do enough woods in season 1, and we did a lot in season 2, which I'm glad.
We made up for. And if you watch the chronological release of the series, then it seems like that we did a lot of wood season 2, but then when you watch the chronological, it's spread out enough where it makes sense, and it's not.
Yeah, because that's the thing, too. Our release order that we release them in is not the same as the chronological order. So if you watch it chronologically, there's a wood episode here, a house episode here. It'll feel more spaced out rather than it being like house, 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 woods. House, 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 woods. It'll be more like woods, house, house, woods, if that makes sense. Yeah. It'll be a bit more spread out in somewhere, and then a restaurant will be, and a movie theater will be. So it will feel genuine watching it chronologically, which you don't have to watch Tether Paw chronologically. But if you really want to like understand the full story, there will be some stuff you won't catch if you watch in release order, because you just might not pay attention to it. It's like,
honestly, if you don't want to think as much, you could probably watch it in chronological, because if you watch it in release order, then you kind of have to
pay attention
and kind of like just remember small little details that might come up later. That's more for like the diehard fans that will remember, like Ben Cash.
I think like Ben Cash. I think release order is cool because then when characters show back up, it's like, oh, we know that character.
Yeah.
But if it's chronological order, we've been like, oh, we followed this guy for 3 episodes.
Yeah,
now.
it's like we watched that guy for the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like,
but in
what's going on?
release order, seeing Tim again at the beginning of Blind Man's Bargain, and like even Jarrett mentioning Kyros in Blind Man's Bargain, you're like, holy shit, that was from another episode. Like, that's crazy. But in the chronological order, Blind Man's Bargain happens before the Disciples of Kyros. So that being like, it's like
it's like a new concept to the series, but like we already worked on that concept already.
Yeah. Did you say spin-offs too?
Yeah.
Like stuff besides Tether Paw? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
So my thought process on like spin-offs or like any other work besides Tether Paw, because I know we did like the Devin movies and we did the Jeff Minute and stuff. I've gotten to a point where I don't want to do anything else besides Tether Paw. And if you've been paying attention, the last season of Tether Paw is coming soon. And if I don't want to do anything else besides Tether Paw, that means that I'm probably going to be done making movies soon. So that was worded really weird because I haven't like spoken like quote unquote publicly about this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be heading towards like a quote unquote retirement, if that makes sense.
Hiatus.
A hiatus. Brandon wants to call it a hiatus because he thinks I'm going to come crawling back.
I think he will. I think he's like, I need it.
But genuinely, I think I don't want to do anything besides Tether Paw. And I think some people might not like that. They might think I'm putting myself like in a square and I can't leave the square. But I enjoy doing it so much that I don't see myself wanting to do anything else. Somebody's come to me with like a movie idea with a script that they've been like, hey, would you direct this? And I've been like, we'll see, send me a final script, yada, yada, yada. Not saying that'll come into fruition or anything, but a lot of people come to me with ideas like, hey, we should write this. And I'm like, I'm just not trying to do stuff besides Tether Paw. If you write it, if you do the financial side of it, that's one thing. But like, I just have grown so comfortable and I love the universe so much that I just don't see myself exploring other ventures besides Tether Paw. And it's the kind of thing where I call it a retirement because I'm done, but Brandon wants to call it a hiatus because he knows if I have a good idea, like a genuinely good idea that would permit me coming back and doing one, it would be like, okay, we don't have to do another season of Tether Paw, but maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, if I have a good idea, I'll come back for one Tether Paw. Completely unrelated. It'd be a new idea. Because once I'm done with the finale, I don't want to expand on stuff anymore. If we were to do anything, it'd be like standalone stuff. And I think my retirement, no matter how long it lasts, because people say this about Tarantino too, not to compare myself to fucking Quentin Tarantino, but they're like, this guy loves movies so much, how long can he be out of the game for? And Brandon loves making movies. Jarrett Quinn, we make movies with him now. We help Jarrett doing stuff. So, like, how long can I be surrounded by that environment without me being like, shit, I really want to get back out there? But I'm going to try to retire and make it so the ending of Tether Paw, our finale, if you will, has some meaning to it. Because for it to end and then us to just do more, the ending wouldn't really have any meaning. Even if it was the ending of these storylines, I think having a solid end is important. And to do another episode of Tether Paw a year later or a few months later would just kind of dilute the effect of like, wow, it's really ending. Like, after Avengers Endgame, Black Widow dies, spoiler alert. And then the next year, Black Widow had her own standalone movie where she was the main character. And for me, I know she's dead in that universe, but it dilutes her death because you saw her again a year later. And it's the kind of thing where, I don't know, the MCU's taught me what not to do.
Yeah.
And I think Brandon still knows. He's like, he's coming back, this bastard.
Yeah.
But I encourage Brandon, like, after Tether Paw, like, keep doing stuff. I want him to do stuff. I will help him the same way he's helped me. And because horror is kind of my thing. Brandon likes horror, but it's kind of like my big thing that, like, I've loved for so long. But Brandon, I think, once he's outside the Tether Paw bubble, I think would be cool for him to explore stuff that he wanted to do.
So, is that going to happen, pretty much? Are you going to take Camelot Studio even further, pretty much?
So, for right now...
Or are you going to kind of do your own thing?
So, for right now, I am focusing on Tether Paw because...
It's not over yet.
Yeah, because obviously it's not over yet. And, like, we're pretty much doing stuff almost every week or every other week for the final season. When he's done and all that stuff, I'll probably take a small break, just kind of like cleanse myself. But then like he's offered like the camera and stuff like that, saying, "Hey, do what you want." Like he's also even been like, "Hey, I'm very cool with you posting on our channel." Like,
yeah, because I don't want you to just make a new channel. Be like, this is Brandon's movie studio now. Because Camelot's me and Brandon.
Yeah.
For me to lock Brandon out after Tether Paw would be shitty of me when it's just as much of his as it is mine.
Especially since it's a production company, basically. Yeah. It's a studio, so it's like it doesn't just do this one thing.
Well, that'll be also pretty interesting where you can take from that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The second generation of Camelot.
Yeah, I mean maybe Camelot can just be pushed down like generation. You know what I mean?
That would be a cool thing to do too. And I think like it's such an interesting idea for Tether Paw to kind of go on a end or hiatus, and then for Brandon to focus on whatever genres he wanted to do. And like I've said this to Brandon too. I don't want Tether Paw to end, and he's like, "I'm gonna do a secret Tether Paw and not tell Tyler about it."
If I do any like Tether Paw, if I do anything that's like Tether Paw like in the same universe, then Tyler has to be associated with it in some way or another.
Yeah, my lawyer will be calling you if not, Brandon.
Also known as your son.
He's 2 years old. Okay, he's good.
He'll kick my ass.
No, like if you ever had a Tether Paw idea, I would want you to come to me and be like, "Hey Tyler, I have an idea." I wouldn't be like, "No, Brandon, I'm done." I'd want to be involved. Like I'd want to be like, "Let's talk about story. Let's talk about this stuff." Because like, as a hobby, like we make movies as like a hobby.
Yeah.
So like, I would love to continue writing as a hobby. Like I'll write scripts that might not ever get made. Or I'll write a script like if maybe Brandon wanted to do something and I would polish it up. Or if Jarrett wanted to write something with me, like as I'm like retiring from directing and going into more like writing. I think I could do a lot of stuff with like helping people out with scripts and stuff, or just writing my own just to have. Because it's weird because we've made movies nonstop since 2017.
Almost, yeah. Basically.
And it's like, it's crazy. We've taken small breaks, but it will feel super weird to just be like, shouldn't I be stressed out about something right now?
We've like taking breaks, but at the same time, like the last time we took a break was, and I say break in like quotations, was when we had to edit a lot for the season 2 release.
Yeah.
Like we took a break of filming, but we also
the stress was
every
still
other
there.
every week or every other week was us editing and stressing about that.
Yeah.
And so like it didn't feel like a break. And then we started doing production of season 3. But
and I love filming. I love editing. I love creating these stories, but it's super stressful.
The thought of filming is very stressful. Filming is fun.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like everything that leads up to it is like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Especially when it's a big day. Like, because we have locations now that we like, restaurant closes at a certain time. We can only get there when it closes, obviously, because we can't be around customers while it's open. And then we only have a few hours very late at night to film. And it's like, I have 2 kids at home. I'm not using this as an excuse, but my life is stressed because of them. I love them to death, but being a parent and having a job and then going to a hobby that's also like a job can be a lot for one person. And my fiance is super supportive of like me, and I always say that everyone should have a hobby, because if not, you'll drive yourself crazy. And it's like, we could be doing hard drugs, we could be doing some crazy stuff, and I think it's cool we're making memories with each other, with people that we might not like talk to someone like Zach Robertson or Jarrett in 20 years, but we'll always have this universe we built with each other. And it'll always be a thing, like I could text him and be like, "Hey, remember when we did that?" And he could be like, "Fuck yeah." I don't know. But do you want to tell him any more stuff about season 3? Do you want to give him any tea? We released the episode titles.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go any further than that, honestly.
Our projects for season 3 are Memories Can Be Murder, The Cult of Kyros, The Phantom Tape, An American Werewolf in July, and The End of All Days. One of those projects is not like the others. Is that all we want to say about it? We should just say it. We should tell them.
So, The End of All Days is more feature length than the others.
Yeah, so The End of All Days is our finale. It's our last Tether Paw we're ever going to make.
Okay.
And we made movies. That's how we started. So we wanted to end Tether Paw with a feature-length movie. And we really wanted to tie all the storylines together and end the universe and the storyline that we've been building up for all this time with a feature and bringing some characters together one last time, whoever that may be. And the people that are in the End of All Days know they're going to be in the End of All Days. And it's some people you may not expect, but it'll be the culmination, I don't know if I pronounce the culmination of the universe, kind of like how Avengers Endgame was, or like anything besides Avengers Endgame we can compare it to, because that sounds like such a weird comparison.
It's a good comparison because it's like all these different like shows or like movies, like it's all these like short films and stuff like coming together in one spot, and like the entire storylines of everything, either behind the scenes or right on screen, is all leading to that one point.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Endgame was.
And we always knew we wanted to end Tether Paw in one way. I kind of always wanted to go back to like the idea of like Blind Man's Bluff, whether or not that is the same as when we first planned it. I threw around a few ideas with that, and we really wanted to finish off those characters' stories and throw in some other people in there that you might not expect. And like, we always plan on going back to this place and these characters, but it was just always like, how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
How are we going to do it? And I think we wouldn't be able to do it in an episodic nature. I wanted to do it in a movie where people can just watch the whole thing, sit down. Maybe we'll have a premiere for it. That would be super cool to do again, like how we used to do.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would be cool. But also, like,
I would go to it.
will people who have just watched the finale even understand it, because you have to watch episodes before?
Yeah, it's true.
It's the kind of thing, like, we have to have, like, not even diehard fans, because I say diehard quote unquote, but like, there's episodes before. Like, you have to do your homework.
Yeah.
So it might not be a thing where we can. It's just our family and friends that like know.
We would have to like put out like a playlist, like watch this.
The essential playlist.
Yeah, like watch these episodes before you come to the premiere. Like,
Yeah.
And what I think is very unique, well, very fun to me at least, about the finale is that Tyler and I have had the ending planned out since like the middle of season 2. Like we've known how we wanted to end the series. Like literally,
I would even say sooner.
Like really,
Yeah,
like the final, like the final scene we've had planned for a while.
Yeah, I was in the hospital when my son was born, and I was texting Brandon about because we had a few ideas in mind, and I was like, we could do 1, 2, or 3, and me and Brandon were like, we'll do 3.
I think it was 3, and then we kind of revamped it a little bit. Made it kind of epic in a way.
Yeah, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, while filming season 1, we like were like, okay, we're gonna do this, but then it slowly just started becoming clearer and clearer and clearer, and I'm so excited to actually film the finale. It's gonna be the hardest thing we've ever done, and it's gonna be fascinating to like really look at some of these actors and be like, this is the last time I'm ever gonna film with you. At least for me, because I want to retire, and like, Tether Paw's a connected universe, so if you play one character, you're not going to play a different character. So like, Jarrett will always play the Collector. He'll always play Jarrett's character. Brandon will always play I keep burping, I'm so sorry. Brandon will always play Pat Clemens, and Tim will always play Robbie, and these characters, like, I won't have Brandon another thing if he's not playing Pat. I won't have Tim another thing if he's not playing Robbie. So it'll be crazy to like wrap it up. Mm-hmm. It's like the end of an era.
Yeah, definitely.
But
yeah. Well, it's definitely a sad note, honestly. But,
yeah,
I mean,
sorry to say it, Zach.
I mean,
you still got Brandon.
Brandon gotta continue. Like,
yeah, I have a few ideas, but I haven't looked into those ideas more because I've been trying to focus on Tyler Paw. So.
Well, you gotta give yourself a break too. I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, after all that, like you said, it's gonna be the big Tether Paw, honestly, like, you know.
It might kill me, Zach. It might kill me.
So, like, you definitely want to take a break, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just for the same point, honestly.
Yeah. Got a fresh note and all that stuff. But...
Yeah.
It's just crazy. We've gotten to such a point where it's like, we didn't want to include Devin Albino in season 1 of Tether Paw because we wanted to distance ourselves from his movies in high school. We didn't want people to associate, like, that tone with this tone by having Devin in it. So it was always planned, like, our season 2, we're going to have Devin in it. And now we did Devin's episode, and just we're not filming with Devin anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was our day 1, and it's like, his character's story is done, and he's, it's just crazy. And like even like Jack LePage, he died in Disciples of Kyros, and he still yells at Brandon. He says, "Why did you kill me off?" Because Jack's even like, "I'll come and film," but I'm like, "You can't. You died. Brandon killed you."
Yeah.
He thought it was me for the longest time. I was like, "I didn't kill you off. It was Brandon." He goes, "That bastard."
hey, he took the role. He knew what he was getting himself into.
That's what you get, Jack.
Yeah, he didn't believe it.
Well, that's it for the Ferra Film Podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you guys, honestly.
Can we come back?
Yeah.
For season three, I guess?
You can come back, yeah.
Hey, I'll see you in 5 years.
Before the finale, we'll come back.
No, after the finale.
Oh, you sure?
Spoilers.
Oh,
spoilers.
Maybe that one we could do a live.
Maybe we can do a director's commentary. We could just all watch it and talk during it. I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'll do anything.
Because I know our plan is to do... Our plan for releases for the final season are film... Like, because our season 2 were film it all, try to release it all at the same time. And in one way or another, kind of did that. We want to try to film a little bit, release some, film a little bit, release some.
Yeah, we're going to do it in, like, twos. So the first 2 we'll release, and then we'll finish up the next 2, and then those 2 will release, and then we'll start production on the movie. So it will be, like, a more sporadic release. Yeah. But I think, like, not that views matter, but view-wise, we won't be, like, bombarding people with, like, watch this, watch this, watch this. It'll be like, hey, you want to watch something with one actor? Here. 2 months later, want to watch something with this actor? Here. 3 months later, you want to watch, like, it'll be more, like... It'll almost feel more like an event, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I love Tether Paw, and releasing them so close to each other was cool. But I almost like the idea more of it feeling like an event. Like, oh, a new Tether Paw is out. Like, cool. My friend's in this one. Let's watch it. Let's share it with everyone. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Thanks for having us on, Zach.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
We love talking and shooting the shit. Yeah. Wait. Can I say one more thing, Zach?
Yep.
Shout out to Mitchell Gilbert.
Oh, our boy. So, honestly, hey.
My boy. Eric Stockwell. I can't do it. All right, bye.
Bye.